I mean, questions about what's going to happen. You should have some questions. What questions about what's going to happen?
No, I think you told me we're going to ask each other questions back and forth. And then you're going to edit out everything that makes you look bad. Right?
No, I'm not going to edit out everything that makes me look bad.
Well, that's what you said.
I'm just being respectful that there may be certain answers that in retrospect we may be like, ooh, maybe you don't want that, no. But so Ken, last name undetermined, but our friends and family know you well. Okay, so you're here on this show. This is ReJUNeions on my Hope More show, where in the month of June, I'm reuniting and reconnecting with people. You are my first love, and many, many, many years ago. And it's so funny because when I think about it, I was like, you know what? Michael Williams, my next door neighbor, was my first love, but I digress. Yeah. But when it comes to like mature, like, oh my God, I can't live without him type of person, you're that person for me. And so you're very brave to come out here. I get to ask you questions and you get to ask me questions. But the overall arching purpose is to determine what like love lessons we learn, Okay. You and I both, assuming that you did learn something. Do you think you learned something in a relationship?
Oh, absolutely, Hope.
Okay. I want to like start deep and get light, but you and I don't have casual conversations, so it's sort of hard to be like, do you remember the first time you met me? Oh, that was a softball.
Oh, is that a question? Like,
yeah. Do you remember the first time you ever met me?
Yes, I remember. I think I remember. Was it on campus, on Spelman's campus? Do you remember?
I know. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna say what I remember. What I remember is you were with someone from Spelman, and I said hi to your friend. I don't remember her name, and I said hi, Hope, and then you said hi. My name is, you said hi, my name is Hope. And
you said hi, Hope already.
I had said hi, Hope already. And then I just kind of looked and your friend said, he already said that. Is that what you remember?
Gosh, no. Okay, I remember, but it may not have been the first time I met you, because I already saw you, because you were both in gospel choir and you were singing. Right. You were singing a John P. Key song.
New Life.
I can't remember. Yeah, New Life Choir. And you were singing, and all the girls were like, oh my God, because we thought you were shy, like, and couldn't probably do anything. We were like, oh, bless his heart, he's going to try to sing. And then you started singing, and we were all, New Life was extra drama. I didn't meet you that night, but somehow I think we sang at King's Chapel, and it was like past the peace communion Sunday or something, and we passed the peace and we had to hug. And like when I went to hug you, you said something like, you called me beautiful or sweet or something really nice. And I remember it was like my first time remember like talking, which was only like, God bless you, or Jesus, Jesus loves you. I don't know. It was really, really something small, but it was a choir. For me, at least I remember that. All right, Kenneth, I want to call you cousin for some reason, like you're my cousin. So that was how we started off the recording. And you know what? I got such smarty pants friends and Hope More family. I've already gotten comments like, wait a minute, your clothes is totally different. And I'm just like, listen, we are going in and out for the sake of time. So this is a live and pre-recorded. We're doing it like the big time. Anyway, joking. But go ahead.
But I did wear the same shirt because I thought we were trying to fake it.
But we talked about it, but I thought I said it didn't matter. I should have done it too. Yeah. But it's okay. No, I'm not faking it. So the reason why I also stopped because Kim knows that we talked for a long time, and I was like, I was supposed to go through and edit. And how about like I didn't know it would take so long to edit down almost 90 minutes of conversation. So as we started out, as you heard him say, that when we first met and the way we met, I know for me at least, I think we got to know each other the most through choir. But I wanted to ask something that he said that I don't know exactly where it is on the dial, but what did you think when you first saw the title for my show being My First, My Worst, and My Sweetest Taboo Love Lessons?
Never heard you call me your first love.
That makes sense.
So so actually, to be honest, like I wasn't sure if I was your first, your worst, or or the taboo. So
that is so good. And actually, I sort of wanted it not to be exact because I know we have some mutual friends, and I didn't want it to be exact, like what each person was. Close friends. Not when you met me, but what do you think it was about me that made us become close? Because you weren't super, super close with a lot of people.
That's very true. I think you'd have to ask yourself that.
I would have to ask myself?
Yeah, because I would say you have that way of being close to a lot of people, but not a lot of people being close to you. Would that be accurate? Like, you have a lot of people who would call you friend, but you would not call a lot of people friend. And so I don't know, maybe something in me felt akin to that. I know a lot of me was attracted to that, just your way with people. But that didn't make me feel special to you, but you are a very attractive personality, like you're magnetic and people are drawn to you, and have been since I've known you. But are you drawn to people as much? I would say no. So
what do you think attracted me to you as a friend? Like I wanted you to be my friend. I mean, for a while, we saw each other almost every day, all the time in college when you could just stay up all night and talk. What do you think? I
don't know. Hope maybe I don't know. Like I think at least on the surface, both of us were at the time serious about holiness, and we we both had like just a mind for Jesus, like yeah, and I think on some level, like a true mind for Christ. And that wasn't I don't think with any other agendas around it. Like, I mean, I know I was trying to find my way, and I don't know, you were a lot more into the church than I was for a longer period of time, but
because you were so talented, I felt like you could have easily been different. Like you could have easily been arrogant or even though you probably wouldn't call yourself light skinned. That was a skip I was like, that was right coming, off the late 80s, going early 90s, where LB Short and lighter skinned men thought they were so awesome, a lot of them. So a part of me was like, he's so humble. He can sing and he's lighter skinned. And I was just like, that was very different. Like, I just thought you were really, really nice. Like you were just like super, super different than what I would have thought you were going to be. Okay, so there are pearls in this story. Do you remember? Well, we've already talked some of this. I feel weird asking on camera because I feel like we've had so many conversations over the almost 30 years that I know sort of the answers or what you may say. But I remember distinctively you graduating, and right before you graduated college, you really shut me out. Like you would have thought that I had cursed you out. You would have thought that I had I just didn't understand. I mean, like we went from being super close to like you're graduating, I think your dad came down, all stuff, and I didn't get to I was not invited to nothing. And I was just like, what's happening? What's happening? Do you remember that time?
I do remember that time. And I was telling my wife and daughter about that time. She asked me, we went on this walk just this week, and she asked each of us, our daughter's 9, and she asked each of us, after not even wanting to go on this walk, we started talking about just like deep things. And I was like, that's really cool. So she asked my wife, Christina, what was an immature time in your life? Like what was something that you did that was really immature? And Christina answered, and then she asked, what about you, Daddy? She was like, what have you done that was really immature? And I had to, think about it. And I said, Hope? And she's like, yes. And I said, my last year in college, I shut Hope out for no reason and with no notice. And I said, that was a very immature thing to do. I do probably one of the most immature things to do. Yes. So your question was, do I remember?
Yeah.
And I absolutely remember.
And why did you shut me out?
I shut you out in retrospect, or in hindsight. I think now that I shut you out is because, and I remember not around the graduation time, but I remember going to Perry and something happening in Perry that you did not, do. You did nothing negative, but something in me just like completely shut down, so much so that on the drive back, I had no words. And I know I feel like that was first semester of my senior year. So that my whole senior year, we were not really talking. But I might be remembering that wrong. Or if not second semester, like the beginning of the second semester or something. But it was after I came home with you, and during that trip to Perry, and which was like not the first time I had been to Perry.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I don't remember when this was, but you and I both during the holidays attended a conference in Atlanta, and you were like my only friend that had an extra key to my car. And at the end of that conference, you were supposed to ride back with me to Perry. And at the end of that conference, you gave me my key back without telling me why. And I was like, it was just weird. It was very like, here's your key. And you're like, I'm not going back with you to Perry. And I was like, okay. But I don't know if that was your last year. I think it could have been, but it was just sort of like, whoa, why is he, what happened during this conference? What happened? Like, so what happened?
That must have been after we came back from Perry. Because like I remember going to Perry, coming back, something happening in Perry when I just had no words, but I completely shut down. Why did I do it? In hindsight, I think that I did it is because we were getting so close and so connected that, I mean, sex was the only thing we could have done to get any closer. Like, I think that we were too close, and we were too
You're trying to
close
break
without.
away from me.
Yeah, like totally subconsciously. Like I didn't have the language to say why, but I think that maybe I wasn't ready at the time to be married. Maybe like something inside me knew that although we were meant to be close friends for over 30 years or what have you, like we weren't meant to be husband and wife. But I couldn't tell, or I had no language to flesh out what we were to be if we weren't to be that. So I, instead of trying to talk out my feelings or trying to talk out where I was, I just shut down and retreated into myself.
Let me ask you, Ken. That was a pretty vulnerable moment. Now, let me stop right there. This is about love lessons. It's not just about reminiscence. So I'm gonna skip ahead, and we're gonna go to my worst. When you now feel afraid in friendships, non-romantic ones as well, and you feel yourself, for whatever reason, you're afraid of rejection, or you're afraid of, needing them too much. What, if anything, have you learned from that situation with me when it comes to possibly not shutting people out or ghosting? Or do you think that's something that you're still sort of learning, you may not have sort of learned yet? Do you understand my question?
No, I don't. No, I understand you.
Okay, your daughter asked you, like, what is something that you did that was immature, and you said shutting me out your last year in college. Having understood that lesson, have you been able to reflect on that, and that aid you in not doing it to other people who you care about, whether it's family or friends, or was that very case specific?
It was very case specific. Yeah, I don't think there's been anyone that has gotten as close to me as you. I don't think. Yeah. So there's no need. There was no need for that. Yes. Oh, I was like, before you answered the phone, I was like, what did he say on the hospital bed? So, and that was the one question that I had. And then you were talking, and I couldn't get what he said on the hospital bed. I was like, what happened? So, in 15 seconds, can you tell us what he said on the hospital bed?
He said, if you pray for me, for this pain to go away, and it goes away, then I may believe in your God. I just might believe in your God.
Did it go away?
I didn't pray for him. I was insulted. Not me. I felt very dated. Like, how dare this uncircumcised Philistine act as if God is just so at our beck and call. Like, I don't know if I'll believe in you. I still may, but you come down and heal me. Now, he was in a lot of pain, so we didn't have a debate about it. But any other time, any other occasion, I probably would have been open to it. But I felt offended as a believer. And maybe I missed an opportunity, but I really was like, really? You might believe in my God? As if God needs you to believe in him, you know? And I think also I told him, God believes in you. And then in all these conversations we've had, and at that time I did not pray for him.
I'm a little confused right now because because you said at the time, I mean, I think I heard you say in that video that praying for people is how you show love to them. Is so you didn't know how to love someone. You didn't know how to love someone without necessarily praying for them or with them. But so you had this opportunity to show love as you know it to someone, and you didn't do that.
I failed that. I think that was an opportunity. I never really thought about it as failing until this moment. And it does contradict. And I was concerned about him. He was in pain, so he may not have said everything with the most choicest of King's English. But I remember however he phrased it, the context was that. And I was like, I'm not. God is not this little thing genie dancing for you, hoping that you believe him. It was one of those moments where I was just like, you know, I knew him at a time where he was going through a lot of stuff. So it wasn't the first time I'd offered to pray for him, but it was the first time he asked.
And you declined. That's something, Hope. I think that's very important. That's very important. Why is that important? It is important because, to me, I hear what you're saying, in that you were turned off by the stipulations or maybe his attitude toward your prayer that he put on it.
Yeah, I think he may have cursed also while he was saying that.
Yeah,
like he was
great.
in pain.
As people do, right? Like you know, people curse, right? I think it's important to address because it's a contradiction. I like it's an hypocrisy that needs to be eliminated, right? So
I don't think it was a hypocrisy, but I do think it was a contradiction. I wasn't loving in that moment. I agree with that. I was not loving. I missed that, but I don't think it's hypocrisy. We don't always get it right. Not to excuse it, but I was like, I don't think it was hypocrisy.
The reason I said hypocrisy, and we're all hypocritical, like in certain ways, right? Like, I'm not saying you're a hypocrite, and I'm not. Like, that's not at all what I'm saying. I know that there are some hypocritical places in me that you pointed out. You know what I mean? Throughout our friendship, right? I said that was an hypocrisy that needed to be addressed, because hypocrisy to me is saying one thing and doing another, right? When what you say doesn't line up with what you do, right? And in that sense, yes, it's a contradiction, but it is also you said that how you show love. One of the ways in which you show love is to pray, and then you did not do that. Like that. That's an hypocrisy.
Well, let me be clear. Everything you said, you have a point, definitely, and you may very well be right. I had prayed for him. I did pray for him. When I say I did not pray for him, I did not, out of my mouth at the moment he talked, like, well, Father, in Jesus' name, which I had a license to because that's how much pain he was in. And he would have at least not rejected it because he had never asked. So I missed a golden opportunity to act it out in front of him. But a part of me, a huge part, felt like it was disrespectful the way he approached it. And I felt like I was throwing pearls before swine in his attitude and the words he was using. But you're right. The part of that also that may have been at play was ego and desire to be right versus the desire to be of service, which is the cornerstone of love. So I definitely know about myself, or at least I try. I don't always get it, but when you're faced with the opportunity to be kind and opportunity to be right, you should choose the opportunity to be kind. And my ego was bigger than my love for him in that moment. And that to me is what it does say. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. It's so funny, Monique. Well, you know each other so long, you can point out each other's hypocrisy and sound like siblings. I guess he's trying to get me back after I told him, like, after he, shut me out, he learned a lesson. I was purposely going somewhere.
Watch Hope More with host Hope Demps on the Daily Gospel Network, the television show created to inspire, encourage, and motivate. Each week, we will provide a dose of entertainment, social commentary, and spiritual insight. This is your opportunity to gain a better understanding of current and important topics from a refreshing perspective, plus creative art, new foods, travel, event reviews, do-it-yourself projects, awesome guests, and so much more. Catch Hope More with host Hope Demps every week on the Daily Gospel Network.
Attention ministry leaders. Have you ever considered growing your ministry with television? Well, the Daily Gospel Network could be what you've been looking for. As one of the nation's largest Christian broadcasting companies, the Daily Gospel Network broadcasts all over the world on popular streaming platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. If you're looking to grow and reach more people, the Daily Gospel Network could be your solution.
Watch Hope More with host Hope Demps on the Daily Gospel Network, the television show created to inspire, encourage, and motivate. Each week, we will provide a dose of entertainment, social commentary, and spiritual insight. This is your opportunity to gain a better understanding of current and important topics from a refreshing perspective, plus creative art, new foods, travel, event reviews, do-it-yourself projects, awesome guests, and so much more. Catch Hope More with host Hope Demps.
Healing, prosperity, and purpose. God has plans for your life to prosper you and to give you hope and a future. Join us now. It's your season. It's your time. Hear and learn how God's love and power can bring hope and happiness to your life. This